November 10th, 2021, regular meeting of the Oakland Mayor and Council. Roll call.
Mayor Schwager.
Here.
Councilman Bialy.
Here.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Here.
Councilman Sasinski.
Here.
Councilman Talamini.
Here.
Councilman Van Eck.
Here.
Before we begin, if anyone's here because of the roller hockey proclamations and certificates, it's been postponed this evening. There's something up at the high school, so that will be at another night, and we'll let everyone know. At this time, please stand for the salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And during the moment of silence, think about tomorrow, Veterans Day, and all those who served our country. Be seated, please. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The meeting will adjourn at 10 p.m. unless the majority of the council members that are present vote to extend the time. The announcements. First of all, thank you to the Public Events Committee for a wonderful trick or trunk. Nothing stops our volunteers, rain or shine, and it rained. So they moved it indoors to Valley Middle School, and thank you to your committee, Councilman Talamini. It was very nicely done. As I just said, tomorrow is Veterans Day. All municipal buildings in Oakland will be closed, and I think most government buildings around the state and country. Veterans Day is held the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, and it is in honor of the armistice of World War I. We gather and now honor all those veterans who served in all the wars. We gather at 10:45 tomorrow in Veterans Park. It's hosted by the American Legion. Thank you to the American Legion. And if it rains, and there's some say, some of the broadcasts say maybe it may rain tomorrow morning. I think then it's going to be, if I'm correct, Richard, it'll be moved into the American Legion building.
I believe so. Yeah.
But it's not going to rain. However, there is garbage pickup. According to our calendar, there is going to be garbage pickup tomorrow. A major issue in discussion is our water. We had to send out a mailing, and the mailing had to be very specific according to the language as specified by the state of New Jersey. The water is still safe to drink. And as I tell everybody who calls me, I'm still drinking water from my tap. We are far below the federal standards. The state standards have become stricter, but we're still far below the federal standards. We have scheduled an informational session on November 22nd. It's a Monday night at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Go to the Borough website to register, and it's www.oakland-nj.org. Go on the Borough website, register for the Zoom. All questions will be answered. We have all our professionals will be in attendance, especially our water engineer. And I know you'll feel much more secure after you watch the Zoom. On a happy note, back in September, I attended an Eagle Scout presentation. Well, I talked about it back in September. It was warm when I went to that Eagle Scout presentation. It was outside at the Elks Lodge. And I met a young man who became an Eagle Scout. He was Vishal Nayagam. And he presented a yellow dot program. And the project is unbelievable. He did this project to gain his Eagle Scout, and I was so impressed by it, I got him in contact with the Oakland Franklin Lakes Scouts, who will sponsor it between Oakland and Franklin Lakes. And what this is, you will get a yellow dot sticker. It's placed on the vehicle So in an emergency, if you're in an accident and you're unconscious or you're not thinking clearly, and the first responders see the yellow dot sticker on the windshield, they know, go into the glove compartment, and the person's medical history and emergency contact information will be there. So, Michelle, I mean, it's an unbelievable program, and we'll be hearing a lot about it, especially among the seniors and those who need it. Again, it's just a yellow sticker, will be on the car. That means all first responders, emergency personnel, police, you see the yellow dot, you know, go into that glove compartment, and all that driver's information will be there. More will be heard in the future. And to all the veterans out there, and those persons still in the armed forces, thank you. Thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And rather than be on schedule, our agenda, I'm moving it around, so we're going to do the swearing in first before the open portion to the public. So I call Chris Bellardo, yes, is that correct? And Joe Latira. Just think, don't want to walk. Oh, yeah. Now if I got stuff out of it, y'all going to be versions, my blood off and find my pills. Okay. I'm going to read the oath of office. When I say, all right, we need the Bible, we have one Bible. So we'll do one at a time. Who wants to go first? Well, L's before B, so we'll do it. Who's holding the Bible? Okay, family, come together. Ready? When I say I, you say your name, and then when I say, the best of my ability, if you don't want to say so help me God, it's okay. All right?
I, Joe Latira,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
will I support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform
perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of firefighter
of office of firefighter
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Optional, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Okay, Chris?
Yes.
Who's going to hold this heavy? You're going to hold it?
Sure.
All right. When I say I, you say your name. You're the firefighter, and then at the end, it's optional, so help me God. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I
I, Chris Bellardo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform
perform
all the duties of the office of firefighter
all the duties of the office of firefighter
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You can hold your certificates.
Very nice.
Ready? I'll do two. Ready? Joe, you're not smiling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Frank, get a picture with the masks off, please.
Are you guys willing?
Yeah, they just hugged each other.
But they had masks on. Ready? Done. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good job. Welcome. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, stay safe. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, did you know that saying?
Now, you're all welcome to stay for the entire meeting, but if you'd like to
Wasn't
leave,
even in the script.
you won't be upset.
I heard that one of the...
Oxygen level just increased.
Well, they took me up on it.
I can't even see anybody.
Before we begin tonight, the rest of the meeting, just want to welcome Steve Saliani, Councilman-elect. Welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Eric Kamala and Kevin Slazinski on their election. At this time, motion to open to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening.
Hi, you have to give your name and your address.
So I'm Edward Clark, 6 Morton Place.
Hi.
And Nancy Krause, 22 Hickory Drive.
Hello.
Take this off, all right?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're with the Oakland Shade Tree Commission. Just wanted to spend a minute talking about the proposed revisions to the ordinance and looking forward to moving that forward. We have been back and forth with a few versions of the ordinance in an attempt to improve the existing one, relieve some of the burdens on homeowners, and ultimately protect the canopy of our town. We recognize the engineering function of that canopy. We look at that canopy as a machine, and each tree is a part of that machine. I don't think I need to go on about the benefits of trees. It's been done before, and in talking to some of you, I know you feel the same. I happened to be here for the last council meeting, and most of the meeting, other than some housekeeping, was spent on topics that reinforced the value of a functioning canopy. There was Mr. Ignali and Ms. E. Kimmick spoke about some flooding issues. I think the mayor wrote a question about some silty runoff issues. There was a presentation about the downtown where there was a quote about the bucolic character of Oakland and the value that has, and certainly trees play a part in that. In that PowerPoint presentation, there was also a direct mention of the value of trees. So I don't think I need to go on about that. I think everybody agrees on that. It's some of the details of the changes to the ordinance we just need to agree on and move on. So we're looking forward to doing that, and I can answer any specific questions, hopefully, related to that anyone has.
Well, this is not, it's now just open for public comment.
Okay. So,
But if there's any questions, each council person will speak when they give their report.
all right. So again, we have a proposal out there, and we're looking again to work with the homeowners, not to put any undue burden on anyone, and ultimately protect the canopy.
Thank you.
I'll just add that, we have put a tremendous amount of thought into this, and Ed did a wonderful job writing this up for us to help explain to you and help answer your questions. But we'll be here through the work session to help you at any time. But trust me, tons of thought has gone into this, and all for the benefit of Oakland.
Thank you for your service to the shade tree. I mean, you worked very hard. You're kidding. Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just so you're aware, I don't know if the planning board has been working on it, and I was going to bring this up later, but I'll bring it up now in case you leave. I don't know if you're aware, the planning board, I think it was since Grant was on the planning board when we started the downtown committee. So it's been over a year, we've been working on a streetscape plan. And there was a proposed ordinance that was submitted by the planning board. And I don't know if everybody received it, it'll be brought up at the next meeting. But in it, it talks about certain trees. Now, I, for one, am not familiar with different kinds of trees and where trees should go. So I'm going to ask Richard, Michael, if you can make sure that the shade tree, did you get a copy of the proposed ordinance, the draft from the planning board?
I think so.
Can you make sure that the Shade Tree Commission does get a copy of this ordinance? Because it talks about certain trees as frontage. And it's your expertise, not mine, or anybody on the planning board. I mean, we listen, but I don't think anyone of us really knew the kinds of trees that would be best suited. So we're going to have the ordinance sent to you. And I hope you'll look at it, review it, and then come back with it. Thank you. All right, so we put these glasses back on.
Motion to close.
Then we do motion close?
Yeah.
You did?
We don't have any minutes tonight. We have recognition, we don't have the whole rock, no. We have a request by the Oakland Fire,
Just on the roller hockey team, because I'm the rec liaison, it was kind of confusing, and I'm a little upset that it was sort of like canceled or postponed.
I didn't know it, I
had no idea.
I
I showed
thought
up
you
here
told me.
tonight, and
Who
I'm
told
being
me
told it
tonight?
was postponed, so I don't know what happened or why.
Does anybody know how it was related to us that it was postponed?
I know there was I talked to Mike Bleeker just a few days ago, confirming we're on for tonight. There was a number of the players who couldn't make it because of a tryout happening. The schedule was just released, and we were going to move forward and have this tonight. He was prepared to say a few words. We were going to do it, and then I got here to the parking lot, and it was just like, it's not happening. So really disorganized, and I'm kind of upset because I feel
Who
like
told us when I walked in that they're not coming?
Yeah, it was my understanding it was like right before the council meeting, they decided to cancel one of it.
I mean, Dr. Glad wasn't informed either. I know he's upset with, equally as I am.
Sure.
None of, I didn't
I
know.
don't know if he's watching or he's going to run down here tonight. But
Well, that's why I made the announcement at the beginning if you're here for the roller hockey, but
these are Oakland Braves need to be recognized. What they did is amazing and incredible, and I apologize for any confusion on behalf of however that happened, but just
well, they're champions.
I didn't know. They are. We talked about this, and I've been looking forward to this, and it's not happening. And
I do not know.
don't want to go on about it, but I'm hurt, so I can only imagine how they may be feeling.
Well, I don't know who decided. Do you know how did you find out, Richard?
I found out from Councilman Kamal earlier because he heard something that he passed along, and then apparently there was some confusion right before the start of the meeting, and they decided to postpone it.
Well,
Yeah,
how
it
did
was-
Councilman Kamala find out?
Yeah, it was transmitted to me from a member of the team, and that's what I got, and I guess it just snowballed from there.
But I didn't hear anything, and Councilman Bennett didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just talked to Mike in the parking lot. That was it. It was like 2 minutes before I walked in.
Sorry, my glasses are foggy.
Anyway, we will be doing this at a future meeting.
Yes,
You deserve it.
definitely.
Let's jazz it up even more after this. Pizza.
Well, sometimes we have cake.
Like the sound of that.
Well, since we don't know what happened, it will be pursued. A request by the Oakland Fathers Club to put a sign at Bush Plaza to advertise the Pictures with Santa events from November 28th to December 5th.
So moved.
Is that all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we just received notice from the Community of Commerce, who does Toys for Tots, from December 5th to December 11th, so they'd like to put up their sign afterwards.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have resolutions. By consent agenda, I'm requesting if anybody wishes to pull any out, I'd like to pull out 315 and 316 and do those separately because I think they're very important. So, Resolution 21317 is Chapter 159 Grandview Mountain View Water Main. The Borough of Oakland has been awarded a CDBG grant from Bergen County in the amount of $75,000 for water main replacements on Grandview and Mountain View roads, and wishes to amend its 2021 budget to include this amount as revenue. 21318 is dedication by rider for the police outreach donation. The statute provides for receipt of funds from gifts, requests, and donations by a municipality to provide for the operating costs to administer this act, and the Borough Council is requesting permission of the Director of Division of Local Government Services to place the funds received for the Borough Police Outreach in a specified fund. 21319 is authorized accrued time payout for J. Fontecaro, which includes sick days, vacation days, personal days, compensatory time, and other absences. Jean Fontecaro shall receive the amount of $1,176.39. And the CFO has certified that the funds are available. 21320 is to award bid for the Doty Road Lakeview water main replacements. And that will be, we received 12 bids. And Technologies, Inc., 297-146, Kindermack Road, Suite 101 in Oradell, had the lowest responsive and responsible bid with a total price of $343,885. 21321 is to award bid for the Grandview Mountain View water main replacements, same Technologies. For a total bid price, they were the lowest bidders for $309,982. 21322 is to authorize the submittal of a grant application, and it's a grant for its Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over Year-End Holiday Crackdown. 21323 is to authorize participation in the opioid settlement. The National Opioid Settlement is a settlement program designed to distribute its fund first between participating states and then amongst participating counties and municipalities. 21324 is a budget transfer, authorizing a transfer between budget appropriations from the current funds of $59,438.15. And it's police overtime, mayor and council contracted services, rec summer staff, gasoline, 2, police and firemen's retirement, clerk print advertising, social security, street lighting, electricity, public buildings. 21325 is the authorized purchase of a replacement police vehicle. Winner Ford of Cherry Hill has the contract for 20 Fleet 01189 for this vehicle as per specifications. The total cost of the vehicle is $37,311. And 21326 is to authorize a recreation refund to the Turner family at 24 Pawnee Avenue in the amount of $80 for rec soccer. Any wish to pull out?
Just 325 also.
The police vehicle. Okay. Any others? So we're pulling out 325, 315, and 316. Any others? If not, a motion for the others.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Viali.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sosinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Vanek.
Yes.
I thought 315 was important to pull out so everybody knows what's going on before the November 22nd meeting. And it is the authorized engineer for PFC treatment. There is a need for engineering services associated with the preparation of the design for treatment of PFOA and PFOS, Wells 5, 9, and 10. Boswell Engineering submitted a proposal dated October 22nd, 2021, for a total not to exceed $105,000, broken down as follows. Preliminary design, $10,000, final design, $70,000, regulatory permitting, $20,000, and services during bidding, $5,000, and our CFO has certified funds are available. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Is there going to be any discussion?
Discussion.
We got a second, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah.
All right, so discussion, now
Discussion.
discussion.
I just want the residents to know that we're acting on this in an expeditious manner. We want to proceed with this as quick as possible. It takes time to do the engineering plans, and then we have to go out to bid, et cetera, but we are moving as fast as we can with this. We're not postponing it. We're moving ahead to get it done. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, every town that I've been talking to is in the same, I hate to say boats because we're dealing with water, but in the same position. And again, the language that was in the mailer was very specific. It had to be in accordance with what the state told us to put in.
And I really encourage the public to listen on the 22nd of November. You're going to get all the information we have from our professionals. I'm pretty sure almost all your questions will be answered. It's extremely important. If you're interested in finding out exactly what happened and what we're going to do, that'll be discussed on the 22nd. Do not forget.
This is some Oakland tap water with lemon and ice right now. That I'm
And isn't
drinking.
it good?
It is delicious.
Anybody else?
Just to let everyone know that the substance, the PFOA, PFOSs, it's all produced by us, human beings. And it's not anything that we've not done before. Comes from non-stick cookware, stain-resistant coatings, water-resistant clothing, grease-proof food packaging, and even firefighting foam.
No?
So, and once it gets into the ground, it goes into the groundwater, and it appears in our wells. The good thing is, it's in one well that's a little elevated, but it doesn't even come close to federal standards. Plus the fact that everything from that well gets commingled with all the other wells. So it's even more diffused as it goes into the system. So you'll have a full report from our water engineer, Kevin Boswell, on the 22nd at 7 o'clock.
And the one thing that I read over and over again, boiling water doesn't help.
Right.
So don't boil water, it's not going to make a difference. Any other questions from the council? Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sosinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Ness.
Yes.
Resolution 21-316, confirm endorsement of community development project at 14 Hickory Drive.
So I'd like to bring this up because I mentioned yesterday in that wonderful, or last meeting at the wonderful presentation, that really my concern here is this is the second time it's come up in less than a year. Never seen one before. This is a different location than the last one, which was on this vacant lot on Yalpo,
On your post.
which is a commercial area. This one is right in the heart of a very nice little residential neighborhood, and I'm sure from the plan we saw it's going to be a beautiful home, and they're supposed to do all these good things. But my concern is we then lose a tax. That property tax is gone.
Yeah, right about.
Well, the other problem is some residents in the area have contacted me, and I said I was surprised that more people in the area did not contact me, either pro or con, and they weren't aware. So that's why I wanted to pull this out.
Nice, people don't even know.
Right, is this a time frame, Richard?
I like this to see these.
I imagine there's a time frame because it's related to a grant that the organization is seeking, which is, this is a grant requirement that the host municipality provide a resolution endorsing the application.
I want to table this.
I'm just curious,
Push it.
and
Pull it.
we're not open to the public, but is there anybody here from Hickory Drive?
Nancy?
Nancy is.
And she raised her hand.
I just heard about it just a few days ago. Someone mentioned it to me. And
Can we table this?
Mayor, I'd like to certainly, I agree, I'd like to have this tabled. However, before we take any action on this, I think notification should be made by the applicant to the residents in the area and at least have a community meeting and explain it to them so that there's no surprises, with the neighbors moving forward. As Ms. Kraus indicated, she only found out about this 3 days ago. Just as the mayor said, we've received several emails from people, and I think certainly the people should be made notified and aware of what this is all about.
I was really
This is
surprised
dead
I
end.
hadn't received a
This
letter.
is a dead end, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
Hickory? Is that a dead end?
No,
No, it's in the middle of the street.
Hickory is between Dogwood?
Between Dogwood and McNomies, right in the middle. So let's say straight down from
Short-
Winters
short-
is the
Short
lot.
distance.
So Hickory it's not a dead end.
It's not,
It
It's only a
connects
couple blocks.
Doty and it connects Dogwood.
yeah.
I can't table it, can someone,
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Second.
deadline for grant with the county, oh, we got time. Thank you, Michael. Wait, you're good, thank you. I just got a note. The deadline for the grant with the county is December 20th. So we have, thank you. So we have a meeting on the 22nd.
Of November,
22nd.
23rd,
23rd of
No,
November.
23rd.
22nd is the Monday of the water meeting, the 23rd, the Tuesday night. And we have to figure out how we're going to get in touch with all the members of that area. Even if we do a robocall just for that street.
Normally what you do,
And-
it's
and
200
we
foot.
could- We could, well, you can do 200 foot, everybody would be notified.
Yes,
for a-
I think
for a
that's
land use
important.
application.
Yes.
There'd also
Would
have,
that be on us or the applicant?
I think the applicant should do this, not the borough.
Well, if they don't, we have to do it because we have to notify the residents. And
Well,
it
I
will
think
be
we
important.
communicate to the applicant that we would prefer that they do
Yes.
it in an expeditious manner.
Yes, but if they don't, we will.
Correct.
Right.
Don't vote again.
All right, so I need someone to table it.
We did.
We did, we just said
And
second.
seconded.
All right, roll call on the table, right? Is there a roll call on the table?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yes, roll call.
Councilman Dialli.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes?
Councilman Sasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Now, Resolution 21-325, authorize the purchase replacement police vehicle. Councilman Talamini, pull this
Yeah, I
out.
just had a question. I was reading an article the other day about electric vehicles, and I'm sure police cars aren't there yet, but are there any plans for the municipality to look into electric vehicles or?
Well, the police
It
cars have
was
to
just in
be,
the paper
they
that
have to be pursuit vehicles.
Mr. Patterson or Passaic just bought 11
Patterson.
Patterson
vehicles. Right.
right, and I've heard that there will be increasing funding for electric vehicles. In what categories, I'm not sure. Our police vehicles are pursuit rated. I don't know
Right,
if there's
that'd
some
be
other
pursuit
category
rated,
here
right.
that Patterson was buying
They
under.
can't do it electric.
We have looked intermittently at electric vehicles for police fleets. Up until now, at least, the major manufacturers really have not made a suitable vehicle for that. But that is something that we are open to, given the fuel consumption of the current fleet. So
I
it's
believe
something
the
we'll
cars
keep
in
an eye
Patterson were to be used for enforcement officials. So it
Oh, you
wasn't-
like the
on.
ticketing?
Not- not
It
actual-
was
Code
it wasn't
enforcement.
a
Code
patrol
enforcement.
vehicle, but I was just wondering if, and then this is just a normal, this is a scheduled.
No, well, you actually already authorized the two that are on the normal replacement schedule. This is to replace a vehicle that was totaled recently. And then it's being funded out of insurance proceeds that we just received.
Okay. All right.
All right, so do you want to make the motion to,
Sure. I make a motion for 325.
Second.
roll call?
Councilman Dialli.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
Which brings up, I'm glad you brought this up, Councilman, the notion of charging stations. I hope that hasn't been forgotten, would you?
It has not. Actually, that is something we're working on. I've been meeting with a vendor recently about that and seeking new pricing. So it is something that's still active, Mayor.
Thank you.
And there should be grants out there for that also.
There are, depending on, one of the issues is the level charger that you get and how much cost we would need to bear on our own,
Right.
depending on that. But yes, there is some money.
All right, we have ordinances, introduction of 21 Code 863, amend the zoning ordinance Cannabis. You've heard the committee's report. You have a draft of the cannabis zoning, and is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Heck.
Yes.
And the final hearing,
November 23rd.
is there enough time for November 23rd?
No, this has to be referred to the planning
It
board.
has been.
No, the amendment isn't. This is amending the zoning ordinance. We're adding an extra,
I know, but
It has to be
we talked about it.
It has to be introduced and then referred.
Okay.
So
So,
regardless of the fact that they've already discussed it and they know about it?
in depth.
Right, so it still needs to get introduced and then
All right, the
referred. I
next,
think we were talking about scheduling the adoption. Well, when's the,
the second Thursday in December is, quick, take out the
the
calendars.
day after our first meeting in December? So I think that final adoption would be scheduled for the last meeting of the year, December 20th.
December 20th?
And I brought this up every time, what's been on here so far. The I-4, which is D, the creation of the I-4 zone,
Right.
which we did, it is missing the new use, which is the breweries and distilleries.
I thought we would vote on that separately.
No, we passed the breweries, distilleries ordinance. Now we brought this up. This was drafted before that was passed.
Right.
So under section 4D, which is the creation of the I-4 industrial zone, which is the old COIP zone, there is a list of 9 uses. We are missing those new uses, which is the breweries and distilleries.
For the next packet, could you list the various zones? Can you have Lisa send it to every councilman? The various zones, so everybody understands what
So
we're
the
talking
CO and
about.
IP zone is going to be created as the
Right.
I-4 zone as a
Right.
result of us
Which
passing.
we didn't have before.
If this is passed.
Yep.
But we passed in the brewery distillery ordinances that just happened, those specific uses within the CO and IP zone. So to me, I just keep bringing it up. We're just missing, we have 9 uses listed here. We have to list 2 more.
Right. That's why I want everybody to get a copy, so everybody understands.
So
what
could
we're
that
doing.
be, who would do that? Is that,
Michael,
Brian?
Lisa?
would do that, update this?
Nylima, would that be considered a substantive change, or is that something we can do now on introduction and then just amend the language?
I think it's a substantive change.
Mhm. I agree.
It's not in the cannabis, or? You were talking about the brewery,
You're talking about the brewery.
We passed the brewery
Right.
ordinance and the distillery ordinances.
but now in the cannabis ordinance,
In the cannabis ordinance,
we have it.
section 4D, there's 9 uses for the new I-4 industrial zone. It is missing the uses that the CO and IP zone are allowed based on our adoption of the brewery and distillery ordinances.
Is this just an old version of the code?
It's,
Has a date on it?
Can you get this clarified?
this is the one in our meeting pack, in the packet. I brought this
Yeah, I
up the
think
last
this-
2 times.
This was prepared while the brewery and distillery
We're
were
still
in
being-
the process of
Right.
being adopted, right? So I understand the issue. I thought Brian was revising it.
Me too.
So, Nylima, can you ask Brian how we address this? Because it's something that should be
Second time
included
now.
upon adoption.
I'll discuss it with him, because what you can do is, I'm just thinking out loud, we can revise it to incorporate Councilman Van Eck's comments. You can introduce it, refer it to the planning board, they have 45 days for review, but perhaps, I don't know when they meet next.
But we brought it up last time, and he said he was gonna do it, and now it's not here.
No, and I understand, I'm just trying to find a solution to see if we can fix this, so that at the next meeting, we can work on it, we can add those 2 items that you said are missing, right?
Yep.
Then you can introduce it, refer it to the planning board, but my question is, when is the planning board meet next? Would they have
The
sufficient time?
second Thursday of December. What, John, what was it?
And you gotta do it before the
John
31st.
Kimmich?
December 9th.
December 9th.
The end of the year, no? Oh, okay.
So you
I don't
meet
think so.
the 23rd
We meet the 23rd of November.
and December 9th.
Does this have to be done before the end of the year?
If you don't adopt by the end of the year, you have to reintroduce.
You have to start all over.
Oh, you have to reintroduce?
Yeah.
You just can't take off where you left off?
No.
No?
Well, this is an amendment to
End
the
of the
zoning
year.
ordinance, so would the planning board be able to review it and make whatever recommendations?
They already
They'll-
reviewed it and
they'll be able to
recommended
do
it.
that
With
after
the
December.
amended
And they
Yes.
already, and the planning board already approved
Yes.
those uses in the CO and IP zone. The only thing is, we're now naming the CO and IP zone the I4 zone.
But they still gotta review it.
It's just a name.
So Rich, they reviewed it,
Oof,
including those two additional, the distilleries and the breweries?
The planning board already reviewed those, the council already adopted those.
All
I think
ordinances have
their
to be
issue
done by the
is
end.
whether or not the planning board would be poised to review this and make a recommendation at their December meeting. I think that answer is yes.
And they already approved it, so it's just the naming of the actual zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a major?
I still think that it could be construed as a substantive change. I don't think that you want to run that risk. That's my opinion. I think that.
Well, you'll speak to Brian tomorrow?
I will
If you're
make sure
changing the
it's
zone,
it's-
Yes. Brian will take care of it, even though it's a holiday, he will have to work. Tell him.
I'll call him from the car.
Yes, we'll tell him I'm working tomorrow too. Okay. Did we vote?
Yes.
So, do we
Now-
vote to introduce it?
I don't know what we do now. We did.
I would like it to be introduced so we can get it done by the
I
end
thought
of
we
the year.
did, you said we voted.
You just voted.
Could we introduce it and then amend it?
We did
If it was
introduce
a
it.
problem? No, but.
As amended.
Yeah, we can amend it next year. That's a good point.
I mean, if we just.
We have to
move
start
forward-
next year over.
No, if we just move forward with this,
And then.
Just the amendment.
and
Amend those
then
2
amend
points
it
on the
next
I4
year,
zone.
just get the two
Right,
things
sure.
in.
Can we do that?
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, you could do
Okay,
that.
why
So
don't
then
just
we
amend
can
it,
have-
amend it on the floor.
Right, so
Amend it on
you're
the
saying,
floor.
let's amend it right now on the floor, fix the language,
Right,
send it over to the planning board as amended on the floor here now.
correct. So amend it on the
And your
floor.
final version will include the appropriate language for the breweries and distilleries.
And that'll be on the 20th.
Right.
Right, so amend it on the floor, direct us to make the necessary changes to the ordinance. We'll take care of that.
The planning board will meet on the 9th. And we meet, when do we meet in December? Oh, the 8th and the 20th.
So I think if you do that, then you're covered.
Okay.
Just amend it on the
All
floor
right, so just tell Brian.
Right, so I think that you need a vote to
to
amend,
amend.
to include it, and then a vote to introduce.
All right, Councilman?
So motion to amend section 4D, to add in breweries and distilleries
In the I4 zone.
in the I4 zone.
As permitted uses, correct?
As permitted uses based on the ordinances we just passed.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sazinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
All right, under work session, shade tree
Well,
ordinance.
that was your vote to amend, is it amend or to amend is, or to introduce as amended? I just want to make sure that there's no,
I think that was to amend.
There was one vote to amend, now there should be,
We voted first to introduce, then we voted to amend.
No, we
it
didn't.
should be reversed. So there was a motion on the floor, right, made by Councilman Van Eyck.
Right.
To add those 2 additional uses as permitted uses in the I4 zone. Now there should be a motion to introduce the ordinance as amended on the floor.
Motion
Right.
to introduce as amended.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sazinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes,
Councilman Van Eyck.
Yes.
So we got this. Now we could go to work session.
there we go.
Thank you.
Shade tree. Ooh.
All right.
Yes.
So everybody taking a look at your packets, there's some great pictures of Ed Clark standing and holding trees. It's probably my favorite 2 pages and 3 pages in any council packet ever. And we've been going back and forth, so I really want to open this up for a little bit of discussion and feedback from my colleagues here and see where we stand.
Do you want to come up to the podium in case anybody has questions? Thank you. All right, questions from the council?
All right, I'll start. First, I want to thank Mr. Clark and Shade Tree and, all the work that both of you have done on this thing. And there's been a lot of back and forth, and good discussion. I just want to, a couple things I just want to bring up real quick. Number one is, I would like some language in there that states very clearly that any tree that is not a shade tree will be not affected by this ordinance, and they can be removed without damages or replacement. Is that something that
Yes, we're,
you're aware of that? So that language we can reflect in that?
that's right.
Okay. I just want to jump back to the septic replacement, okay? I appreciate the language that you're exempting for up to a quarter acre. But yet, if it's over a quarter acre, the exemption, you're applying back to Schedule 1. Could you just kind of give the council an explanation of why a quarter of an acre, you're allowed to cut it up to 136-inch tree without penalties, but yet, if you have more than a quarter of an acre, why the disparity if the person still has to replace their septic?
So, as I often say at every meeting for the past however many years I've been here, I make analogies to this ordinance and our zoning regulations. And zoning regulations are often, the categories are often based on size of lot. For good reason. You have larger lot, you have more latitude to comply. So the thought being, on a quarter acre or less lot, as I think most lots in Oakland are, it may be too tight a space to accommodate the replacement. Thinking that half acre lots, 20,000 feet or so and larger, there'd be more opportunity to mitigate the tree loss on site. So that's the break between below and above quarter acre.
All right, so is it your position that if the resident, once again, it's the hardship on the residents, it's no fault of their own that they have to replace a septic and the burden falls on them to do this. So is it your opinion then that if they have greater than a quarter acre, it behooves them to find a spot that doesn't require tree mitigation?
That's correct.
Okay. But if it does, and there's no way out, what is their vehicle to allow them not to? Why are they have a different burden than the person less than a quarter of an acre?
Yeah, it's based on lot size, just again, analogies to the zoning regulations. They have a larger lot. What is the out? There's an out on everything in the shade tree ordinance, and the out is, again, another analogy to zoning regulations. Just like zoning regulations, you could write zoning regulations in a book this thick, and it wouldn't apply to every lot in the town. So the zoning board of adjustments meets on a regular basis because you cannot address every possible situation. So to answer the question, what is the out? If it doesn't work for that lot that happens to be over half an acre, what's the out? So there's an appeals process, which unlike the zoning board, it's a very simple process. There's no form to fill out. There's no formal application. There's no notification of the neighbors. There's no fee. It's as simple as showing up to the public session of the meeting, or you could, as the saying goes, literally phone it in, send an email, have it on a Zoom meeting. And at that meeting, the circumstances of that application would be discussed. And like every decision of the shade tree that's been appealed at the meeting, I think we'd find a solution at that meeting. And if for some reason we didn't, the next out is, and that language exists in the current ordinance, it gets referred to the council, can ultimately make judgment on it. So the Shade Tree Commission doesn't have final say on it.
I'd like to make a comment regarding that. I think we should take that out of the ordinance. I think the rest of the council remembers an appeal to us. Actually, the appeal should be to them rather than to us. We should not be in the appeal process if they deny.
But that's, we still have it in the ordinance right now.
I'm saying, we should take it out.
That's something that, it's not them, it's something we have to do.
I think we should take it out.
Yeah,
No,
but
it's in
that
the
has
ordinance
nothing to
too.
It's in the current one.
Yeah, it's in the current ordinance right now. But we're the appeal
Okay.
body.
But I think we should take that out.
Well, we can
But
amend
that
it.
has nothing to do with the shade tree right now.
Yeah, it's in
Well,
the,
it's
it's in
really-
the,
it's
it's
in
in
the
the proposed
current
ordinance.
ordinance.
This is what we're talking about.
Right.
I have a real problem with septics because, as you know, I do a lot of real estate closings. And people in Oakland, if you're selling a house, 9 times out of 10, you are doing something with the septic. And they're spending $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $35,000.
So, agreed. And again, this is looking to relieve some of the hardship on homes. So it's the cumulative count of the first 36 inches of tree. So 3 12-inch trees, 1 36-inch tree. Doesn't require any mitigation. And what it does, there's two mitigation schedules in the current ordinance. One for, if it is your primary residence, there's a replacement schedule that asks less. If it is not your primary residence, if it is someone building home
Investment
for
property.
it's a different criteria. So that's how we try to address that hardship. And again, be out, I can't do it, it comes to the meeting. Again, in my time there, never once have we not come to a conclusion that everyone was satisfied with at that meeting.
Okay, so we're looking at a couple different things here before we keep going with this. So appeals process 1C, applicant can contest the decision of the appeal with the town council. Unless anybody disagrees, what Pat is suggesting is that we should just simply change the language at the end of the decision of the appeal with the Shade Tree Commission instead of.
But they're the ones who made the decision.
Right.
How could they appeal?
So we're saying strike it coming to the town.
That's
Remember the other problem we had?
So we're
Right,
striking.
we still have it, it's not
So
going
you're saying,
away.
so
No,
what was
the
being
question
said-
is, if they say no, and you appeal, you're going back to them.
So
Is that
then,
what you're saying?
who would they, if the feeling is that you don't want people coming in and appealing to us?
So where are they going to appeal?
Then that would make the Shade Tree Commission's decision final.
Right.
So we would just remove
So
C.
there's no appeal.
Correct.
So why don't we do this? Unless there's, we'll just take C out. Your decision, the commission's decision would be final.
Yep.
All right, so does anybody disagree with removing 1C?
Right, because if you're not going to come here, you want them to go back to them, that negates the whole issue.
There's no appeal process. The
Right,
appeal process is to them in the beginning.
right, and
that's
that's up
it.
to you. They're gonna come to you, that's the appeal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so remove 1C. We just made some progress. Now, the next thing we're just talking about is the 3A and B.
I would like to see, this is just my opinion.
Yep.
I'd like to see A and B, I'd like to see B mirror A, so that if the septic is a septic, regardless of lot size, if you gotta do the work, you just gotta do it. And, it's not a burden on the resident.
So we would just remove B and say septic replacement repairs on lots.
Yep.
Remove the square foot, smaller, blah, 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 so on and so forth. First 36-inch caliber tree, remove, da, 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 da. So we would just remove the lot size.
Correct.
And get rid of B.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep going. I just wanted to grab those two things before we kept going.
Is everybody else in agreement?
Taking out.
Does anybody challenge that?
Able to have the
On the council, no?
36-inch.
Anybody?
Nope.
Just to clarify, what we're getting rid of is the break between quarter acre or
Correct.
under
Yep.
or, but
Yep, just
but the
leave it
leave
at the quarter acre size.
For
all lots are treated
All
the
lots
same.
are treated the same.
And so they'll have that first 36 inches as a credit,
Correct,
unmitigated.
correct.
Anybody else?
Other feedback on this, or on those 2 points?
I would also like to see I'd like to look at the additions of a house with its footprint, also provide some relief on that as well.
So again, the same out exists always, you can appeal. Just state the question again.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see, it says for additions, any application involving addition that expands the footprint of an existing principal or accessory structure, the appropriate primary homeowner mitigation station will apply as noted in item number 1. So, the question is, I think there should be some leniency where they can cut a certain amount of trees down if they're expanding their house. Within the footprint, not outside the footprint.
Well, within the footprint, it doesn't even apply. If you're doing
That's
narrow
right, the
level,
footprint is not going anywhere.
I mean, I'm sorry, let's say you're putting a 50 by 50 addition on your house, a new addition. I'd like to see that be exempt, because they're improving their property.
they are improving the property.
Okay.
So there's, again, so the driver of this is stormwater, right? We're a
Okay.
town that has a flood commission. And so the thought is, the thought behind it, I'd just like to explain. Again, we're expanding the footprint, we're increasing the runoff, we're decreasing the impervious surface. And the scope of building an addition, which runs between $250 to $350 a square foot. And the scope of building an addition, if it were, a 12 by 16 addition, how many trees could you possibly remove? In the scope of that, where there'll be excavation required anyway, we're not introducing a new trade, just to offset the loss of canopy was the driver for that. Again, you're doing an add level and interior fit out, doesn't apply, just expansion of the impervious area. So that was the motivation of it, and I just felt I wanted to explain that.
So you're okay with this, the way it is, or what you're saying, Eric, is, Council President Kamala, is to do something similar to 3A, which is exempting the first
Right.
36.
I could live with it if it followed the same thing as the septic, and then I'd be fine with this ordinance.
Well, footprint could also be a deck.
It could be a deck, and
It
again,
may not be just an addition on a house, it could be a deck.
Right,
That
but
increases the footprint of
So
the
you're,
property.
but what Council President Kamala is looking to do, correct me if I'm wrong, is to mirror 3A under 5.
correct.
So
Just-
5 additions would be the same as, we're basically taking the septic language, we just amended, and mirroring it under number 5, which is additions.
That's it, and then I'd be fine with the ordinance.
Well, what about
And
anybody
you're okay
else?
with pools?
Does anybody else have a position on pools?
So Pat did mention that last meeting, so I have my note here that Pat mentioned pools. Pat pools
Yeah.
is my note.
I'll just add again what Ed said, just in case, it wasn't strong enough. We're not only protecting the canopy in this case, but by making this addition, impervious surface is being created. So runoff is being created. So, which is a problem we're trying to mitigate in this town. And the trees mitigate it.
Yep.
So by giving them an exemption, we are saying stormwater's okay.
so the decks were mentioned. In most towns, decks don't count towards impervious. I don't know if that's the case in this town.
No, but they could count as an increase in footprint.
It's increase of footprint,
Right.
but it's not increase of impervious.
Right,
So,
because they put a footprint, that's why.
and that's what it says. But just along that train of thought, maybe decks are exempt.
Well,
because-
Right, because it doesn't affect them,
With
if it's a
the-
deck.
With an addition, aren't we required to do like the dry wells and have so the runoff just stays on the property?
Not necessarily, no.
Depends on the size.
Depends on the size. Most of those applications I don't see, and there's really nothing in our code that requires it.
Okay.
Anybody else? What were you saying about the pools?
Yeah, I was mentioning pools and whether or not we should exempt them, but I understand what Nancy is saying. I'd be fine the way it is.
Yeah, a pool to me is more of a luxury than I mean, like an addition, some people just need to put an addition on their home.
Right.
You don't need to have a pool. So,
Yep.
I think, and we're coming at it's none of our business why you're putting an addition on. If it's because you have to move in your elderly parents or you want to golf from, it's none of our business. But it's looking at it as impervious. And third wording for pools, it's an accessory structure. It's none of our business if you're putting a pool in and why. An accessory structure is an accessory, whether it's a detached garage, a pool, a tennis court, it's an accessory structure.
Okay, so anything else from anybody? Because I would love to see this move out of workshop for next meeting with these recommended changes and be on the agenda for the next meeting.
How does everybody feel?
Good, I'm good.
And the changes we talked about, just to reiterate, this is something Brian will update for us?
Brian has to look at it, right?
He will.
Okay.
Okay.
But maybe what I can do is, Councilman Banach, can I contact you and we can go through them together, bullet points, so nothing gets missed?
Yep, okay. So that was 1C, 3, A and B, B going away and editing A, and then 5, adding the same language that we'll eventually have once we make the change for 3 under septic. So those are the feedback we have.
And also, you forgot any tree that's not a shade tree can be removed without replacement.
Any tree that's not on the acceptable replacement
Yes.
list is
Right,
not
but I mean, what's a,
required. So
how do
for-
you describe what a
Okay.
shade tree is?
So there's a list of trees that are
That-
unacceptable for
that was-
replacements.
that was the
Ash
list.
trees, they're not, they're varied. Ash trees, most of them are ornamentals, because what'll often happen is I cut down a 36-inch oak tree, I'm gonna plant a Japanese maple, which in 20 years may be this large. So we have ornamental trees.
Right.
In tree nerd language, shade tree is something that's gonna exceed, 35, 40 feet. It's not an ornamental tree. So there's no permit required to cut down a Japanese maple. So there's no, ash trees are not an acceptable replacement, so we won't ask for a replacement if you're cutting down ash trees. We're encouraging that.
Right.
Right, but that was the list.
That's the list.
Oh, because they
What's-
lumped it as a shade tree, that's why I was
Yeah,
confused.
there's a list of trees on there for good reason that are not acceptable, and those trees do not require mitigation.
And you
Okay.
will get a copy of the ordinance prepared by the planning board about the trees in front of, for the treescape. We'll get you the ordinances.
And could I just ask, so you said about like a detached garage, and so if I had a home that had a detached garage, and I wanted to knock that down and put an attached garage on my house, if I had the room, but I had to chop down some trees, but I'm not changing the impervious coverage, because it's the same size garage, I'm just attaching it to the house. Am I going to run into tree
It'd
issues?
be governed by, just like stormwater regulations, it'd be governed by the proposed impervious. So if you're taking that detached garage and connecting with the breezeway, but demoing the old garage, that footprint that was impervious, that is the footprint, you're rebuilding the same footprint. I guess the breezeway in your description would count, but it's a proposed building. If you're demoing the house and building a house in the same footprint, you're relieved from some stormwater regulations. It's the net increase is what we're looking at. Just like zoning regulations and stormwater, we're looking at the net increase on impervious.
So there would be no net increase.
If there was no net
Under
increase,
that.
if you're building in the same footprint,
Then,
Nothing to
but
talk
I'd
about.
have to, I mean, let's just say I have 7 trees next to my house.
right, if you're demoing a garage over here and building a garage over here, and this one triggers tree removal,
Yeah.
that's a proposed building, and yes, it would.
It would, okay. All right. But even though it's the same amount of impervious surface.
So I guess that's where it departs from stormwater regulations. 500 square feet over here, 500 square feet on another part of the property, still 500 square feet of impervious. In our case, we're talking about trees, no trees are being removed for this existing building, 7 trees are being removed. The proposed one, we're looking at the 7 trees in the proposed one.
Okay.
Right.
So one other thing that I caught on here is if we're doing that 36 or greater for exemption for the septics and additions, if you refer to table 1, which it says to do, it's a replacement of 4 trees. What if we put in for septic or addition 2 trees in those instances?
What if we instead decrease the size of the replacement tree? So the silly pictures I sent you, the reason for that was to demonstrate that, again, in the cost of $30,000 hardship of replacing a septic, that tree I'm holding is available at Home Depot from April till October for about $90. There's one of the best nurseries in the state is on 202 in Oakland. The next best one, the 2 next best ones are in Mawa. So again, it's doable.
Okay.
$30,000 for a septic, the extra $98 for the tree. Again, I don't think we're pushing anybody over the edge, and that was the goal.
Okay.
I'm not looking to put home.
And having been involved in this process, this was split out. Commercial and residential were together. There was no differentiation with this, and this is something that we as a committee came to that conclusion. We were able to break that out, which was, I think, productive and at least got us this far when that happened. Okay.
So to follow up, the proposal leaving the quantity the same, but we can reduce the cal, make them even more affordable.
Okay. That works. Any other questions from anybody?
If anybody has any thoughts afterwards, sometimes you go home and you say, oh, I should have said that. Get in touch with Councilman Benek, who will get in touch with
This is going
Brian.
to apply for addition.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think so. So
Yeah,
just
I
one
think
last
that's what
thing.
he's saying.
So back to the addition. So we have we have 36, cumulative of 36 inches exempt for the septic
Correct.
situation.
Same thing for the addition.
I would like to see that not happen. I'm okay with the decks because it's.
Well, usually the
not
deck,
counted as
if you
impervious,
say deck, it's usually higher than the ground.
But it's not
anyway,
counted as
yeah.
impervious. So, if there's some kind of compromise we could find on that.
What do you suggest?
I suggest,
As is.
Smaller cap.
smaller caliper on the trees. Just go down, again, that tree I'm holding in those silly pictures, I mean, I'm holding it with one hand. If you're building an addition for $350 a square foot, if it's a bedroom, it's $200 a square foot at the minimum. There's an excavator involved already because you have to dig a foundation, even if you're building a deck, you have to dig a foundation. So there's an excavator, or a general contractor, or a landscape contractor already involved in the project. We're not triggering the need for a new trade in the scope of their work, doing the excavation, exporting the fill, restabilizing the site, planting those $98 trees, and how many of them could you possibly be taken down on a bump out for your house? Right, so I propose we keep the quantity in there and reduce the number, the caliber of the trees.
That's fair. It sounds like with these changes, this is going to move forward.
Thank you, thank you so much for your time and working.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you, Nancy and Ed.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your hard work. That was a lot of work. And we will get you the ordinance proposed by the planning board.
Yeah, Mayor, I was on the distribution list for that. I'll forward it on to him.
Thank you. All right, so you'll get it from Richard. Nancy and Ed, Richard's going to send it out to the shade tree. He has it on email. He'll send it to the shade tree.
Okay, great.
The proposed ordinance by the planning board.
Thank you.
All right, engineering services to 2022 road program.
Okay, I know we're just heading into the winter, but we're already thinking about next spring and summer. Doing the road program requires a generous amount of lead time, especially when you're talking about utilizing a NJDOT municipal aid grant like we are for next year with the second half of Seminole. So with that, Boswell Engineering has provided a proposal to provide engineering services for next year's road program. We'd like to get them under contract now so we can be ready to go out to bid in the spring and kind of avoid having to do any road construction in the fall, so we can get this done over the summer when school's not in session and contractors generally have a little bit more flexibility with their scheduling. So that's why we're bringing it before you now. If you have any specific questions, John's here and can answer them.
Anybody have any questions? No. All right.
Just the road, does this include the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay. I just had a question because some of the residents contacted me, and I'm sure you got the photos.
Yes.
It seems that the contractor, when he was finishing off the driveways, used course level or base level to finish off a top level driveway.
Yes, I told, we'll replace that with the sand mix
Right.
that is in their driveways. And I told my inspectors, we will tell the residents we'll make it right as long as we don't break the bank. So
Right.
if I need to meet with the residents personally, I will do that.
I mean, I was there and I looked at it, and you could see, 3/4 inch stone sticking up.
That's not right.
It's not a clean finish.
Understood.
And they called me concerning the sidewalks where macadam was used instead of concrete, and we know the reason for that.
Right.
And it's the
Water.
valve boxes that may be moved, and rather than jackhammering concrete, we just remove the macadam when the valve box is replaced, and we just fill it with concrete.
Yeah, they did that yesterday. We talked with Anthony from DPW. We are not moving the boxes, they're staying where they are.
Right,
And that work was, I believe, done yesterday.
very good.
Any other questions?
Just
Yes.
while you're here, sorry, just Glenn Gray, are we moving along with that?
Glenn Gray, we need to get a new schedule from the contractor. Unfortunately, the contractor did not give us enough notice ahead of time. And Rich and I talked,
and it was not fair to our residents. And so we told them, no, sorry, you did not give us enough adequate notice. And so we've been requesting from them a new schedule ever since that happened. I think it was last week. And they haven't given us a schedule yet. This contractor has been challenging.
But that was, weren't they hired by Mawa?
They were. And plus about 6 or 7 other municipalities in northern New Jersey, because they were the low bid on many other towns.
Aren't we concerned about the quarry shutting down? Isn't there a date that they close?
Yes,
Well, I went back to
that's usually in December.
Okay.
I just have to notify the New Jersey Department of Transportation, because they do have limitations. They don't, you have to let them know ahead of time if we're doing paving after November 15th.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So I just have to notify them. So unfortunately, the contractor is putting us in a difficult position, or a challenging
Remember,
position.
winter's coming, winter brings snow, ice.
4-letter words, no.
Yes.
no. There's another question over here, Councilman?
Exactly. We had a meeting with Rich and you when I first came on, talking a little bit about the issue of the roads and how they deteriorate at a faster rate than these old roads. We actually have older roads that are in better shape than roads that have since been paved because of the amount of tar.
Well, they changed the mix.
Additive
Yeah.
that is done. Is there a way to increase that so our roads last longer, we save more money in the long run? Could we add some of that tar and that mix back in so we have a longer lifespan on these roads?
I don't believe it's that easy, Councilman, because the plants are already tooled to have that less tar in it, and that less tar spec meets the Department of Transportation. So in order to tell the plants to use a different mix, you'll probably be paying more for that, because that's not a normal mix.
But doesn't it make sense to pay more for something that
It
will
might.
last longer, because it'll be less expensive for us as a municipality over the lifespan of the road to do less repairs? I mean, because you actually see these roads with this new additive, they crumble versus crack. And if
Correct.
crack can be filled, when a road is crumbled, it's pretty much done. You're really gonna have to do some major work.
I will look into that. We have time for next year's road program to look into that, if that's cost effective to introduce a different mix that will last longer if there's a savings to that. And I'll get you an answer to that.
Is that driven by DOT, or who drives the
DOT.
DOT, so would that require approval from DOT if there was a change in mix?
It would, only on Seminole, because that's the street that we got the grant on. So in other words, on Seminole, I must use their DOT mix. On the other roads, I could use a different mix.
All right, so for Seminole, this is a moot point then?
That's right.
Right. All right.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
I think it's important.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
All right, under new business, I have a few things. There is a motorhome sitting in the parking lot of the old Oakland Drugs where the use variance. Is that allowed right now?
It's
I
a
would doubt that having
52-foot
A big motorhome.
I would doubt that that's an approved use. I will make sure that Vinnie looks at that. I know we were going ahead with an additional summons anyway, because the owner, applicant.
Well, the use variance is, I asked the legal opinion on this, because of the appeal is in the process, isn't the use variance stayed? They cannot go for site plan.
I need some background here. Is there currently an application that's pending?
No, the application, the zoning board approved a use variance to make the old Oakland Drugs now a gas station, not a gas station,
Service
a
station.
garage
Service.
and
Retail
truck
shop.
and, right. A resident appealed. It was given to the council, I forgot the date, but we have 95 days to make a decision. In the meantime, she has to provide transcripts. So I asked what happens during this appeal process, which is what Councilman, I'm pointing to him, he probably might not have been, Councilman Pignatelli talked about the appeal process. in our borough ordinance, we have that if someone appeals from the zoning board, it comes to us, doesn't go right to court. So there is appeal pending. Isn't the use variance stayed during this time? That's what I was told, so they cannot do any kind of site plan. So now, all of a sudden, I'm passing by the parking lot, and there's this gigantic motorhome sitting there.
So there's a pending prerogative writ action in Bergen County Superior
No,
Court.
no, it's
It's
here.
before
It's
the
here.
council.
So can he get a summons for that?
I have to take a look at the
He
ordinance.
can,
but I
because,
believe he can.
because regardless, even if the resolution was operative, there are other things that he's not complying with the terms of the resolution.
This is
But-
this is after he already got his,
Right, so yes, there'll be another summons issued on this, because
I
whether
was just
it's the
sitting in the middle of
motorhome
the
or
park
something else.
like, did everybody
the thing
see
he's
this?
not-
You can't
he's
miss
not
it.
complying with.
It is giant.
I've seen it, yeah.
So, Mayor, if there are conditions, and which I don't know if there were conditions as part of that approval or not, but typically you
There
go through
were.
resolution compliance, you have to comply with those conditions. before
Well,
you
right
move
now,
forward.
the zoning board gave him a change of use. It was never, the use variance is now allowing him to put a garage to fix cars and trucks, whatever, in the middle of town. But it was appealed by a resident.
Right.
So now we are in the appeal process. And in the middle of everything, there's this giant motorhome. And I wanted to know if that can be addressed.
Yes, well, it certainly will be addressed, yes.
So, because of all this, that is why the planning board has been meeting during this past year, over a year, and developed a streetscape plan that, for the town. So that's where the trees come in. And like I said, I don't understand different kinds of trees. So you will, I hope you will look at and review the proposal that was brought forth by the planning board. And out of this, I have contacted other mayors in other towns, and I contacted Brian, our attorney, about an architectural review board, which was, when I was on the council in the 90s, we had talked about that, about if somebody comes before a board, to have a board, architectural review board, and I found out that only one responded, and that, or two responded. One is in Saddle River. They have a historic board that has to review plans before any kind of boards. And in Ramsey, they have an application review board. That's what they call it. So I'm going to get further information for the next meeting, and I wanted to bring that up tonight. And that is under my new business. So you're going to get the ordinance, the proposed ordinance, and we're going to get more details on the boards. Anybody else have new business? If not, old business. Councilman, no old business?
I mean, I know we're moving forward with this. Frames are ordered. Get a little update on that. Thank you,
Oh, you fixed
Michael.
it stopped falling.
Yep.
We fixed the pictures in the current frame.
Pictures in the current frames are pretty enough.
Thank you. He taped the pictures of the mayors.
We have a delivery of one of the last two coming up. I have confirmation from the son of a former mayor. I just sent information to them about the size of the new frame, so.
The son of a former mayor.
Mayor Piccoli.
Oh, did you talk to Mayor Piccoli?
Son, yes.
Oh, not the mayor.
I talked to his son.
Oh, the son, okay.
They're the same age. So, so that's coming. So I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe target January for the swearing in for the reorg meeting, maybe?
I would think so.
Found.
I would think so, yeah.
I guess that's.
I could also bring up old business,
Your computer adjusted.
the fiber project and where we are in that, and just to see what progress is going to be made. I know we talked about November when we were back at the senior center meeting as being a target. It is November. I don't know.
The fiber?
The fiber loop.
And I want you to meet that guy that, with the television and movies.
So I don't know, Rich, you have any?
The first leg between Borough Hall and the DPW should be done early December, I believe Vinnie said. And we're just waiting for the final responses from the utilities on moving the required equipment on the poles in order to string hours. We still hope to have it all wrapped up by the end of the year.
By the end, that would be great. And again, I always got to compliment Council President Kamala's foresight and vision many years ago to look to run conduit and to prepare us so we can get to the point where what we're doing right now. And I think that's exciting for the town that we'll have that. Thank you for the update.
And thank you for all that you're doing with the television studio.
Oh, yeah, it's great, OCC, love those guys.
Thank you, guys. Under old business, Alderman Brook. I've been in contact with Congressman Gottheimer. He's waiting, John Yakimic and Richard, for those letters for the state so he can follow up. Richard knows what I'm talking about because John looks bewildered.
I do. I do. And Mayor, if I can kind of jump on this too and provide a little update for the council too. OEM coordinator, myself, and Scott Chickarella from DPW met with FEMA today on a scoping meeting. We have another meeting scheduled with them next Thursday at 10 o'clock. The floodplain manager should be in attendance for that. One of the primary, if not the primary, what they call projects, each kind of category gets its own project, and that gets developed with FEMA, will be for Alderman Brook. And not just the existing damage, but we're also going to be exploring some other FEMA resources for additional mitigation to see if there's anything there. In addition, we've scheduled a meeting with the NRCS. That's the other program that we talked about at the last meeting, and there is a meeting scheduled for December 8th.
Would you make sure that Congressman Gottheimer is aware?
Sure.
He's very interested in helping. He went there, he saw the site, pictures were taken. He calls me periodically to get updates.
At the meeting at the residents' homes, and we were with Charlie at his house, the congressman walked all up and down Alderman, and he couldn't understand why the DOT is refusing to fix the problem that they caused. So he wants pictures, he wants your letters, and he wants to send a letter of his own to the DOT, asking them to step up to the plate and fix the problem.
And
Rather than us going through FEMA, through another program in the state, to fix something that another program did.
Was there
They're
any
passing the
feedback?
ball like they're in the backfield of a professional football team.
Was there any feedback from Anthony Sitko? I have a note here from last meeting that he was the spokesperson, the DOT, and we were waiting for response. Have we had any response or any communication?
Well, he doesn't think it's that his fault.
No. That was his response. And as I
Has there been
talked-
any response since the last meeting?
No.
No, and that's why Congressman Gottheimer wants to.
Right, there was that initial email to Anthony Sitko, and then we decided, we really need to pursue this through the congressman, through our city people, through the commissioner's office.
And he is very interested in helping, so you're not forgotten.
Thank you.
And while I was at it, I mentioned to his aide about the infrastructure bill and how does that affect us with Patriots Way Bridge.
We don't know yet. There's been some conflicting information, and I guess even, press reports regarding whether or not the original member designated projects, otherwise known as earmarks, whether those were in the final version that the House voted on and passed, or whether that's all gone, and there may be some other funding source. There is a large amount of money in the infrastructure bill for bridges, bridge repairs and replacements. And so perhaps that's something where there'll be a separate grant program or an existing agency designated to handle that sort of a thing. That's the sort of clarification we're seeking from the congressman's office. We've been in touch with them every day since Monday, but they have not, been able to provide us with any clarification yet.
Okay, thank you. All right, Council.
Can I just ask, I just wanted to ask a question about the Oakland drugs. Just, so we find them already, have they paid the fees from the violations, that we?
No, the first summons wound up being dismissed.
Why?
It wound up being dismissed because they were provided with the resolution, and the prosecutor declined to keep prosecuting it.
What resolution?
The board resolution.
The planning board
So,
resolution.
no, there's been no fine. That's why we've been in touch with the prosecutor, came up with a plan to issue another summons because there's still violations out there of even the resolution. There's things that they're not complying with. So we'll be going back to court on this matter.
All right, because I was just wondering if it was were the fees but you're saying he didn't have to pay anything, but are, you know, are the fees going to be enough incentive for him to mitigate what he's doing, or is he just gonna pay the fees?
The fine runs at $1,000 a day, all right?
Okay.
What ultimately winds up getting assessed is up to the court.
All right, thank you.
So hopefully he will remove that big mobile home.
Hopefully.
All right, council committee reports. We'll start with Councilman Bennett.
Sure. I'll start with the rec report. We have a local Boy Scout working with the commission to update the Delia building and doing a project, shelves and other development, which is great. Once an eagle, always an eagle. So they really support and
Is he one of those for November, the Eagle Scouts?
No,
Okay.
he still has to do his projects.
Okay.
Yeah, after your project, you can hold bunch of stuff. Anyway. The Field 8 sod is holding up for the football season. So the DPW works with the landscaper to repair spots, and it's looking great. So that was just another thing we should be celebrating. Some really good news for the town. Another bit of good news from recreation is our Peewee football program, and we'll be having the championship game this Saturday at 5:30 at Ramapo High School. So go down and cheer the team. Everybody is welcome to come along and root for them. Our team is 8-1, and they're playing Ramsey, which is 9-0. So let's get down there and root for our Braves and
At
support our
Ramapo
team.
High School?
Yep, the high school at 5:30 on Saturday is the championship game against Ramsey. So go Oakland. Next, I will report on the OCC. We had the newsletter just came out. But we're always looking for writers and people to contribute to the newsletter. I think I mentioned this last time, I'll say it one more time. We did make the leap into the 21st century, that we're available 24/7 from your cell phone, tablet, computer, Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV device. This is local BTV. Hi, Mom, who's now watching in her hometown, be able to watch and stream that way, which is great. We just had our recent meeting on November 1st, and we proposed our budget and capital plan, proposed bylaw changes, and talked about our, which I'm very excited about if you've been following, sponsorship program, all about that. And we're excited to learn that we received video files from a conversion that was done. We took the old VHS tapes and transferred them to digital. Those are over 150 recordings, some dating back to 1994. So we're hoping to play some of these blasts from the past, so look out for that starting in 2022. I think that'll be really fun. Our next meeting's January 24th, and we are back in person, so they are back here at Council Chambers. Shade Tree, we talked about a lot tonight, so we'll move forward on that. A little bit about our some DPW, the road program. Boswell's working with residents along Seminole to resolve the restoration issues following the installation of the sidewalk. So they're waiting for a revised schedule from the contractor to complete all the work on the project in the next few weeks. As far as the digital sign is concerned, Boswell is resolving comments received on the masonry renderings, so they'll continue to follow up with the movement on the digital sign cabinet. We also had the pedestrian walkway, so a decision was made to do this work without 609 Ramapo Valley Road, so we're going to continue to negotiate with that owner, but we're going to move forward with this project and put in that sidewalk finally after many years. So that is exciting. As far as the Patriots Way Bridge, there's really no updates. It remains safe to travel. The cost and federal funding remains a possibility. So that is my report, and I just want to thank all the veterans and wish them Veterans Day. And I know we have some veterans here on the council. John and Pat, thank you for your service, and for all our veterans for their service. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. For Park Committee, there's a local Boy Scout's been working on a committee to complete the Eagle Scout project. It will consist of an upgrade and work around the great oak tree, such as repairing the benches, improving the turf, and planting offspring acorns from a tree, another cleanup item. So there's another Boy Scout project in the works for Great Oak Park. Planning Board met last week. As the mayor alluded to, they're working on, they actually finalized a streetscape plan for downtown, which includes specific trees, as the shade tree is going to be reviewing. Also the sidewalks, they're making a recommendation for stamped concrete so that it starts matching uniformly throughout the town. So, and what's going to happen is the town will be purchasing the concrete stamps so that when a business owner approves their sidewalk, we have that consistency of the sidewalks looking the same. So that's going to be purchased by the town, and there'll be continuing the lighting that is currently in place in front of Walgreens, and that'll be the lighting that'll be working its way through the downtown area. So that's what took place at the planning board. Also, a quick update on, as I brought up last meeting with the downtown redevelopment presentation I gave. We were hoping to have a resolution this week. What we've decided to do is we now have our planner putting together a report for the entire council, which will be accompanied with the resolution before it goes to the planning board. So the planning board has something actionable, and they can really understand it's going to capture all the zones downtown. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I met with the Board of Health on October the 19th. There's a great deal of discussion for septic system at 46 and 48 Riverside. Not much more was discussed. That was long enough. But they did report that the rabies clinic was held and 37 people or dogs attended that clinic. Just like to remind everyone, Hazardous Waste Collection Day is this Saturday, November the 13th at Moonaki from 9 to 3. It's held at the foot of Empire Boulevard, and entries only through the Empire Boulevard. I met with the Environmental Commission on November the 9th, discussed various reports pertaining to open space, Pinnacle, and I spoke with Rich today. There's a concern about ATVs being used down at the Great Oak Park, so they'll be discussing that with the chief and maybe put up appropriate signs prohibiting that. I'm glad Nancy's here. Disposable containers and plastic bags is going to be a presentation in January, or you're trying to get a presentation with the local business owners regarding the rules and regulations to make them aware of it. Did you hear about that?
I'm sorry, I'm not...
Not familiar with that? Okay. But anyway, the Green Team is going to try and meet with local retailers concerning disposable containers, because they're going to be prohibited in the near future. Also, January the 2nd, 2022 is going to be a Styrofoam Collection Day. We also discussed McCoy Farms development. There'll be 200 units there, 40 will be affordable, we believe. We're also moving forward with a GIS, Global Information Systems Mapping Project for Oakland, which will delineate trails, parks, recreation complex, geology layer, vegetation, mapping, etc. This can be reviewed on the Oakland website for the natural resource inventory. We also did discuss the PFAS, which I believe the mayor discussed before. Again, encourage everyone, if you have any questions, November 22nd, we want everybody to tune into that, because there's going to be a presentation. We want one message going out to the people so that they understand what's going to happen. For the first aid October report, 67 total calls, which they traveled 1,166 miles. For the seniors, there's going to be a podiatry clinic on December the 3rd. If you're interested, please call 201-405-7731 and speak to Ariel. I said about the hazardous waste collection, again, that's paint, gas, herbicides, pesticides, anything that's hazardous. I believe they also collect fluorescent tubes, lighting, so please go to that. And again, reminding everyone, Veterans Day ceremony tomorrow at 10:45 a.m. To pay tribute to veterans. I know everyone has been seeing on TV the veterans who are disabled because of the Iraq War, and it's just terrible. It breaks my heart, especially when you hear a lady say that she had to tell their young children that Daddy won't be tucking them in anymore, and the baby saying, Daddy, I miss you. This is what happens to veterans who put themselves forward. And I know when during Vietnam, men would say, when they interviewed some men, they said, "We know tomorrow might be our last day here, but we're still going out on patrol." And these are the people who give up their life for America. So please come tomorrow, 10:45 a.m. at Veterans Park. That's it, Mayor.
Oh, but you forgot to talk about the lovely event we attended yesterday at the senior center.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's right, yes, the seniors had a 30th anniversary.
That building is 30 years old.
30 years old.
Wow. I know.
And let's thank the senior citizens, really, because these are the people who've been here for 30, 40, 50 years, and who've helped make Oakland what it is today. And they should be thanked for that, because they stretched their dollar to make sure that things got done here in Oakland. Thank you, Mayor, for
And I was sitting at a table, and one woman who, you know who she is, lost her husband, Frank, Barbara. And she said to me, if it wasn't for the senior center, she says, I don't know if I could have moved on. She found friends at the senior center. She has participated in activities. And it's really it's a very helpful, and it's a beautiful place. And thank you, Ariel.
Yes.
Everybody complimented that we have such a wonderful executive director at the senior center.
And there's an activity almost every day.
Ariel's doing a fabulous job,
Yep.
so thank you, Ariel.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yes, it was.
And good food,
Yes, very good food.
unfortunately.
Right.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes, water and sewer, Doty Road and Lakeview, plus Grandview and Mountain View water main replacement projects have been awarded today. And also, Rich would be sending out a letter to the 10, 11, or 12 residents who live on Island Terrace to formulate whether an extension would be needed based on the wishes of those residents. And in the meantime, we'll ask the contractor to leave a stub out for that possibility. Decommissioning project, the bid advertisement is out. Opening bid is going to be on the 23rd of November, and award will be on the 20th of December. Schedule puts us in a position to adhere to latest forces in NJDEP, Bureau of Water Compliance and Enforcement. Historical and cultural, Van Allen interior renovations are almost complete, and we are still awaiting an update on the stream house replacement plans from Margaret Hickey. And don't forget, November 22nd, 7 o'clock, sign up for the Zoom meeting so you get all the detail and the good stuff, or the bad stuff, as you look at it, about what's going on with the PFOAs and the PFOSs. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate publicly Steve, Kevin, and Eric on their win. I wish you good fortune, good luck, and I want to thank my running mates, Charlie Schwartz and Tom Connolly, on a very well-run race. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes. We have, in finance, we have a finance meeting on Wednesday, December 1st. And then I'd like to just thank the public events for a wonderful Halloween event. I was unable to attend. I was at a basketball tournament with my one son. Like I always say, every event is better than the next. They really do a great job,
And they were able to accommodate the weather.
accommodate
Right?
the weather. They're very resourceful, and they realize how important these events are to the town, and they do whatever they can to pull them off. And I can never say enough about the public events. But also, we always need volunteers for the public events. So if you want to join the public events, sign on up. All right, and then number 3, congratulations to the 11U Gold baseball team. I'm a little prejudiced. This is my son's baseball team. They won their fall ball championship last night, 9-5.
Wow, congratulations.
That team wins. That's what they do. It's a great group of kids. But really, congratulations to them. And 4, I just want to just thank everyone that put their name forward and ran for whatever position this election. There was school boards elections, there were council elections, there were sheriff elections, assembly elections, senator elections, everything. And it's something to say, I'm gonna do this, and put your name down and put your name on a piece of paper and stand up there and say to the world, this is me, I wanna do this job. And I really wanna thank everyone, I mean, everyone up here. I wanna congratulate everyone, I wanna congratulate John for all the time that he's put into Oakland and New Jersey. This public service it's part of my family. We've as long as I can remember, starting from my grandmother, someone has been involved in the town that we live in. It's just important. The more people get involved, win or lose, it's just important. It's just I can't tell you how much this means to me. This family of mine, and just thank you to everyone that put their name out there. And then I forgot. Why is there a police officer here?
Oh,
That's what I was gonna ask. It's right on.
I asked because, as you know, I prosecute, and there has been some really horrible things happening at different meetings. So I asked the chief to have a police officer. We used to have, when I was on the council, back in the 90s, we always had a police officer. And a lot of towns do. So just, I didn't know what was gonna happen.
So we just need police officers when you're around, is that?
Maybe, no. I said to the chief, let's see what happens tonight.
Okay.
Because,
I just wondered, that was.
no, that's why.
I was gonna ask during the.
No, because so many things are happening all over the state that, just wanted, a little extra protection, why not?
Is there anything we need to worry about?
I don't know, do you? I don't know.
And, and just happy Veterans Day to everyone, and thank you everyone who served.
Do you have a date for the holiday tree lighting?
I don't have it, I was looking for it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
In December, huh?
It's December? That was good.
Early December.
Well, Hanukkah's very early this year.
Yeah, all right,
It's
I'll find out.
November 29th,
All right.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. Things are pretty status quo over at the library, but I have been asked to remind everyone that rooms are available for use by residents and nonprofit organizations based within Oakland for free. For information on these rooms and their amenities, visit the website or call. Rooms are filling up as groups have started meeting again after COVID restrictions lifting. An example of the groups are scout troops, volunteer organizations, and study groups, so plan in advance. Also been asked to mention that the library has passes for the Museum of Natural History and the Storm King Art Center. Due to COVID restrictions, you need to schedule your visit to both in advance. But Storm King is free, and the Museum of Natural History has been reduced to $7 per ticket.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
One other
Isn't
thing, Mayor,
inflation
can I
in-
just mention, I was happy to hear from the police chief that my suspicions about the traffic light at Franklin and Rampo Valley Road were absolutely true. There's a ghost inside the traffic box. That doesn't happen all the time, but if you get caught with it, if you're coming down Franklin Avenue, the light goes green for about 12 seconds. And then it goes red, and then goes green for Rampo Valley Road for about 3 or 4 minutes. And if you ever stood at a light for 3 or 4 minutes, and then watched 2 cars get through and the light changes to red again, the traffic goes all the way up to OLPH Church. And the police chief, when I told him, it happened to me twice, I got caught in it twice, and it happens between 2 and 4 o'clock. Charlie, you've gotten involved in it.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the police chief's secretary got caught in it. And
So now
she
we
was
got-
able to take her testimony back to the police chief and let him know this is really happening. And I don't know how many times the county's been out there to look, but the ghost doesn't come around when the county's there looking.
Councilman, I just sent an email to the county, I elevated it to the county engineer just now,
Okay,
and sent him an email.
And all of a sudden, it's been crazy.
yeah, and it happens between 2 and 4 in the afternoon.
And our traffic engineer, Frank, who Pat has met, thinks he knows what the problem is.
Oh, really?
if the county would listen.
Okay.
And so we're offering for Frank to go meet with the county at the controller to solve the problem.
What does he think it is?
It has to do with detection, that's not picking up the vehicles.
Now, isn't this the light that the county told us when I complained to no end about it? That they said it was deemed, it was okay, and I said that light is on the end of its lifespan, and it needs to be replaced, and they came back, so there's nothing wrong with the light? Is that the same light?
That's correct.
And coming tonight, I was sitting by your house with traffic.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, there you
All of
go.
a sudden,
I mean,
6:30.
That's why I left early.
And Mr. Kimmick, can we bring up that record, that email chain? I was really persistent on all of that when we go back to them and say, this was over a year ago, I've been complaining.
I'll look for that.
Didn't we have a Zoom meeting with her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember she was sitting on her porch.
I was politely persistent with it, and then it wasn't as polite, and then we had the Zoom meeting, and, well, the light's fine. Well, clearly it's not.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak?
I'll just say one more thing. Nancy Krause, 22 Hickory.
You forgot something.
No, I just thought of, well, I didn't forget it, I just thought of something else.
Okay.
If someone is interested in serving the town of Oakland, the Oakland Shade Tree Commission has 2 open positions.
2
So-
vacancies.
Grab a citizen leadership form and help save the trees of Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you.
But we have, now this is the time of year to start thinking about if anyone is interested in serving on any boards or commissions, please let us know. Anybody up here, let us know. You can get your citizen leadership form on the website. I have it in my office. You can get it from Borough Hall. We'd love to have you serve Oakland. It's good. Thank you. Anybody else?
Motion to close?
So moved.
We have to.
Second?
Oh, close, yeah. second.
Close the public.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. And yes?
Aye.
Everybody awake?
Yes.
Anybody opposed?
Okay. Bills to be paid, Councilman.
Bills to be paid, $237,589.47. So moved.
Second.
Everybody read the bills list?
Yes.
You can vote.
Councilman Deale.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Sisinski.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Van Eck.
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll be in touch. The next meeting will be here Tuesday night, November 23rd. That's Thanksgiving week, so it will be on a Tuesday night, not Wednesday. I'll be in touch. I'll let you know what's going on with the council, with the congressman.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.